Is your life set up for happiness or for sadness? If you had asked me that question when I was 16 years old, I would have said sadness in a heartbeat. At that time, I was diagnosed with depression. My doctor gave me a prescription for what he called happy pills and sent me on my way. I didn't take his prescription too seriously because I didn't know what this happy felt like. Plus, I was a good student, an athlete, an involved member of my community. My friends and family loved me. My brother only kind of, but I was okay with that. So I said, no, I can get through this on my own. But when I ended up in the hospital in my second year of university, I realized that I can't get through this on my own. Here I was, a 19-year-old girl with big dreams, and now a completely destroyed life. So I decided right then and there in the hospital that things needed to change. The best part about hitting rock bottom is that there's nowhere to go but up. I started taking an antidepressant. I went to therapy. Thank you, Lindsay from Waterloo. I researched mental health and wellness online for hours and hours. Trust me when I say I was trying here. If I had tried this hard in university, I could have graduated with like a 5.0 GPA. I was eating right, exercising, had a full social life, meditating, journaling. My broken relationships were even repaired. I even tried to fit into group therapy. While other girls talked about their boyfriends, I talked about the closest thing I had to a relationship at that time, which was with my dog Java. I was desperate here. Things seemed to be getting better, but my mental health still wasn't where I wanted it to be. It was frustrating. I had moments of joy, but they were short-lived. That's when I realized that I was focusing too much on my mind. Everything that I was doing was designed to make my mind happy. I was eating right for my mind. I was taking an antidepressant to fix the so-called imbalances in my mind. I was building healthy relationships for my mind. I was exercising for my mind. I wasn't living for myself anymore. I was living for my mind. So I stopped. I broke out of the shell that was my mind. I dissected my life and started becoming aware of the faulty systems that I had set up that were contributing to my sadness instead of my happiness. Here is an example of what it's like to stay in the mind. It's like the girl who's doing everything right, but then she constantly calls her ex-boyfriend for support even though he cheated on her multiple times and left her for her best friend, then wondering why nothing ever goes her way and why she's still so depressed. Is this a personal example from possibly 7 years ago? Maybe. The point is that it doesn't matter if you go through the motions and behaviors of what you're supposed to do to have a healthy mind if you overlook the details of your life that are preventing your long-term happiness systems from forming. What's the point of waking up in the morning and making a healthy, strong for your mind breakfast if you're going to wake up in the morning rushed and scarf it down in a minute? You have absorbed nothing nutritious from that meal because your body is in fight or flight mode. What's the point of setting up social systems for support because it's good for your mind if you're not going to reach out when you need help? What's the point of forcing yourself to the gym to exercise, but you hate it, but it's good for your mind? There are more enjoyable ways of working out. It's these little details of our lives that we tend to overlook that are preventing our long-term happiness systems from forming and have more to do with us helping ourselves versus our minds. After this awareness, I started to transform my life. I stepped into the role of Picasso, picked up a paintbrush, and started to paint a new system that would connect my broken pieces together. I really want you to experience what this is like. We're going to go on a journey together where you will get to feel what a morning with a happiness system setup feels like versus one with a not so happy setup. Let's start with the not so happy setup. The alarm clock rings and you immediately snooze it. Maybe once or maybe twice because wow, does your bed feel comfortable. Some time passes by and you look over at your clock with groggy eyes and you immediately jump out of bed, because if you don't get ready in the next 10 minutes, you will be late. You get dressed in a rush, barely looking at what you're wearing. Your mind is already on overdrive with all the things that you need to get done today. Maybe you have a minute to eat breakfast, or maybe you don't, because there are other people that need your support this morning. Either way, you're already angry, annoyed, irritable, and stressed. It feels like nothing ever goes your way and you wish you could just crawl back into bed. Everything seems like it's taking forever, whether it be your kids getting dressed or your coffee dripping into your pot. You finally leave your home to go to work or school, or maybe you go to the room next to you because you work from home. You sigh thinking, here we go, another day. What a morning, eh? I'll pass on that one. Let's go through with the morning with a happiness system set up. Pay attention to what details feel different. The alarm clock rings and you wake up on time. Or actually, maybe even a little bit earlier so that you can spend the first few minutes of your day doing what makes you feel good. Maybe you journal or meditate or work on one of your favorite hobbies. You get dressed in something you love. You make yourself a yummy, good for your mind breakfast and your body is beaming with the feel that you gave it. Not only do you have time to eat breakfast, but now you can also give proper support to other members of your family if they need it. Your mind starts to think about all the things that you need to get done today, but you're able to bring yourself back into the present moment. You're able to calmly go through the motions of the morning. You leave your home to go to work or school, or maybe you go to the room next to you because you work from home. You don't need to rush. You intentionally created a system that would allow you to have enough time to get settled in. You smile thinking, here we go, another day. You are ready, and you know you can handle any challenge that comes your way. I really wanted to go through this experience with you so that you could feel the radically different feelings produced from each day. You can create your own happiness system. You get to be the Picasso of your life, just like I became for my life. I made the decision at 20 to live my life as intentionally as possible. And yes, I definitely immediately cut that boyfriend out of my life. Here are the steps that I took and that I've helped my patients take. Step 1, step outside of your mind. Step 2, dissect your life from the moment that you wake up to the moment that you go to bed. Step 3, ask yourself if every single thing you are doing is contributing to a system of happiness or sadness. Step 4, if things come up during your day that contribute to a system of sadness, change your perspective. Step 5, change your behaviors to form a system of happiness. How? Do the opposite of what you're doing right now. Do you currently snooze your alarm clock in the morning? Wake up on time. Do you have other people to take care of and you do it all by yourself but it's stressing you out? Ask for help. I've experimented with different systems to see what works for me. When I worked at a psychology clinic last year, my family knew not to speak with me until I had taken my post-work bath. This, of course, was created after countless fights and binge eating sessions of kettle chips. A patient I worked with, we'll call her Anne, was a second-year university student who couldn't handle exam stress. Anne was exercising, eating right, going to therapy, but every time exams would come around, she would have a breakdown. Anne became aware that her system during exams wasn't set up for her happiness. We worked together to develop strategies that will allow her to better manage her stress. She started to schedule fun things to do during her breaks. She strengthened her social networks, and she became comfortable with the natural anxiety that comes from stressful times. It's when Anne started to develop a daily system of happiness that her mental health changed. This process is more than just eating right, sleeping right, moving more, fixing chemical imbalances, addressing childhood traumas. This is about you. looking at your life with a critical lens and asking yourself if it is truly set up for you to be as happy as possible. We cannot go back and create a brand new beginning in terms of how we approach mental health care, but we can create a brand new ending by continuing to evolve how we treat mental health concerns. Practitioners can work with their patients to, yes, set up the foundations for a healthy mind, but now take it a step further to encourage the setup of happiness systems. These systems that take into account an individual's specific life and circumstances and helps them set it up in a way that allows them to go to bed satisfied at night, knowing that they spent their day in a way as fulfilling as it possibly could be for them. My advice for all the 16-year-old Bisleens out there who are suffering and tortured by the pain that they feel would be to get clear on what happiness means to you. Step outside of your mind. Don't even worry about it. It will follow when you create the most fulfilling life for you. Dissect your life like I did and become aware of the systems that you have created. A simple exercise you can start by doing is by asking yourself before taking any action, is what I'm doing contributing to my long-term happiness or sadness? Or if things come up during your day that contribute to a system of sadness, ask yourself how you can change your perspective so that it can seem like this specific event or circumstance is contributing to your long-term happiness. Then you can step into the role of Picasso, pick up a paintbrush, paint an incredible masterpiece of a life so that when you are what I hope you'll make it to, the ripe age of 80 or 90 or whatever age, you can be proud of the life that you have created. But for now, simply start by asking, is what I'm doing contributing to my happiness? Thank you.